Welcome back to HLN Now. I'm Michael Anasard. Imagine this. You're a nice family. You got 3 kids. You decide, okay, let's hire a nanny. You do the background check, and everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, the nanny stops working. And you want to fire her. But the nanny says, no, I'm staying. I mean, what would that look like on a day-to-day basis? Nanny won't leave. What? Hey, you haven't done anything in weeks around here. Haven't lifted a finger. Get the hell out of here.
I'm not gonna leave, and if you try to throw me out, I'm gonna sue you.
Sue us? For what? Leave!
No, and you know what? On your way out, turn on the AC. It's getting a little hot in here.
God, what are we gonna do about this? Yeah, basically, that's what a family's dealing with. That was Stacy, our producer, helping illuminate what's going on with Ralph and Marcella Bracamonte. Again, they got 3 great kids, and they go on Craigslist, which may or may not be an idea, to find Diane Stretton, 64 years old. She's going to be the live-in nanny. So what happens? They hire her in March, all's well, to do the household chores, help with the 3 kids. In May, she stops working and stays in the room, hence our reenactment of what that may have looked like. And there's Diane Stretton. In June, she's fired, June 6th. She won't leave. And now we're finding out that California is a pretty tenant-friendly state, so the law may be on nanny's side. Imagine that, and it's what Marcella Bracamonte said just a couple of moments ago. She's like a prisoner in her own home. How does this happen? I'm outraged for this family as they have to now work through an eviction process, possibly. It may have to work through the courts. Late word is that Diane may leave by this Friday, July 4th, under her conditions, but I think the family's already rejected one of the conditions, so who knows where this is going to go. Let's bring back our attorney, Philip Holloway. You feel for the family here, right? This lady stops working and you can't get her out of the house. Why?
Well, like you say, under California law, and it's the case in many states, Mike, tenants have rights. You can't just throw somebody out if they're not willing to go. You've got to go through a legal process. You've got to go through the right way. But ultimately, I think they will prevail in court. The problem is how long it can take. It could take months and months and months, and not to mention the expense of having to hire a lawyer and everything like that.
No, and then the family we know went on Facebook to try and pressure this lady to get out. And again, she may leave by Friday, may not as well. I think a lot of people, wait a minute. How is she even a tenant in the first place? She was hired as a live-in nanny. She stops fulfilling that duty. She's out.
Because what you just said, live-in nanny, that makes her an employee. And if you offer her room, you offer her a place to stay, that creates a landlord and tenant relationship, which is different from employee-employer. And tenants have rights, and they may have to go through the process if they can't get this worked out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so let's even take it a step further on the outrage scale. Could Nanny go after this nice family here for damages because they've made life hell for her and have tried to kick her out?
Well, under the law, they are prohibited from being the roommate from, hell or whatever, because they, tenants can't, landlords and tenants can't do that. So they have certain obligations that they can't break, but as long as they don't make life miserable for her, I don't think she's going to be able to recover any damages. This is going to have to play itself out through the court system, I'm afraid, unless she agrees to get out on her own.
Isn't that something?
I want to know if she's done this before. I'd like to see how many other lawsuits she's been involved in.
Well, in the terminology that they use, she is a serial suer, this lady here in California.
I've heard that.
Vexatious, or I'm not even sure I'm trying to get that word right. But anyway, she sued a lot of different people, and the undercurrents harassment.
Highly litigious.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. Should the family have seen that in any kind of background check, or would they not have been able to pick up on that?
As I understand it, they didn't really do a full background check.
Okay.
They checked references and things like that, but I don't think they pulled credit. They didn't pull criminal history. They didn't look at her litigation history. All of these things are things that you might want to look at in the future, and this could be a lesson to others.
Well, and I think you're just hitting that. For a lot of folks watching this, and if you're thinking about a situation like this, look out. Number one, Craigslist may or not be the best way to go. And number two, what are the proper background checks that you need to do? You mentioned a couple. Credit check.
Yep.
What else?
Criminal background check. Get a release from her. Take it down to the local police department and run a criminal history. See what she's been involved in. If you know where she's lived, look in the local courts to see how many times she's been a plaintiff or a defendant. And if so, what kind of cases was she involved in?
Wow. Okay.